And I'm back with my new segment called SwamiLee Says. SwamiLee Says could vary between sports, entertainment, or really anything else that crosses my mind. But this is important to me. This is very, very, very important to me. The Swami, for years and years and years, was a huge, huge Happy Days fan. You have no idea how big a fan of Happy Days the Swami was. I'm talking, I probably saw the original pilot when it was aired back in 1974. Okay, so let's be honest. And years ago, though, I came up with some very interesting information that has led me to believe everything I once believed in is wrong. Yes, let's be honest. I wanted to be the Fonz. You wanted to be the Fonz. We all wanted to be the Fonz. The Fonz went like this, and he had 8 chicks all over the place. Okay? The Fonz is obviously getting it every day. Because why? Because he's the Fonz. And then I realized maybe that's not the case. Happy Days being such a huge show, who knew that looking back to the pilot episode, Season 1, Episode 1, titled All the Way, that it would change my life. I would never be able to believe what I once believed. And it all started with Richie and Mary Lou Milligan. And because of Richie and Mary Lou Milligan, my life was never the same. And let me tell you why. I'm going to show you and prove to you, beyond a reasonable doubt, that the Fonz never got laid. You heard it. You heard it. The Fonz never got laid. Okay? Every time he snapped his fingers, meant nothing. Now, of course, you're telling me I'm crazy. How can you prove something like this? An affidavit? No. We're using a mathematical formula. It's called a proof. You may remember that. If A equals B and B equals C, then A equals C. Well, I'm going to prove to you that the Fonz never got laid using that proof. So, sit down, grab a beer, and get ready to have your mind blown. Okay? This is what happened in Episode 1, Season 1, All the Way. Richie had a date with Mary Lou Milligan. Mary Lou Milligan was easy. Yes, you could get up her shirt, according to the rumors, and we're going to keep this clean. That was her reputation. And Richie had a date with her. This was pretty exciting in the Cunningham household. Well, at least for Richie. Potsy took him to the Arnold's bathroom with a bra to teach him how to unhook a bra. Richie, of course, said he liked bras that had snaps on them in the front, and Potsy didn't know what he was talking about. So obviously Richie had never been there. So Richie went on this date with Mary Lou Milligan. Again, it was pretty exciting. They started necking. Yay, we'll use the term. They were necking. And then Richie tried to, get his hands a little handsy, finally, and she stopped him. So the second time he tried to get a little handsy, she said she doesn't do that. She just likes to neck. And I don't remember if she mentioned her reputation, but the bottom line is she said that she doesn't do that kind of stuff. No big deal. Anyway, the next day, at I believe it was softball practice, all the guys were asking Richie, hey, how'd it go? How'd it go? How'd it go? And now Richie is Richie. I mean, he didn't say he did anything, but he didn't deny it either. So when Potsy and company assumed that he did it, he just went along with it. Little did he know that after Fonzie heard this, he got a date with Mary Lou Milligan. So, Richie is, of course, Richie, and towards the end of the episode, he admitted that he only necked with her. Fonzie, when he heard that he was necking, all he was necking with her, Fonzie got pissed off. Fonzie wanted to beat up Richie. Now, you couldn't see it from his, he stayed cool because, hey, he's the Fonz. But yes, Richie really angered the Fonz. Now, you said, okay, great, but what does this have to do with the Fonz not getting any? This doesn't mean the Fonz didn't get laid just because Richie didn't get a little up top action. But yes, it did, using that mathematical proof that I told you about. And this is why. But in order to do this, you need to put yourself in the shoes of two people. Okay? You have to be a person that never gets laid, and a guy that always gets laid, which is, of course, we thought the Fonz was. Okay? We'll start with the guy that always gets laid. Let's say he had a date tonight, and that date is with a girl that had a reputation for letting you go up her shirt. Okay? Not sex. He's not supposed to get laid. He's supposed to get up her shirt. Okay? That's what's going on. That's the date tonight. And he gets laid all the time, though. He probably got laid yesterday. He got laid the day before that. So what the heck's the difference if he gets what happens today, right? He finds out he's not going to get up this girl's shirt. Do you think he cares? I mean, seriously. Look me in the eye and tell me that if you got laid all the time, you would care about getting up some girl's shirt one time. Of course you wouldn't. Who cares? Now put yourself in the shoes of a guy that never gets any action of any kind. Okay, never. You get no action. Okay, the only action you get is in your bathroom with your magazines. Okay, and that's okay. I respect that. I'm not judging. So you think you're going to get up some girl's shirt tonight. You're all excited. You've been sitting around thinking about it all day and night. It's all you've been thinking about. Okay? It turns out you ain't getting nothing. You're going to be pissed. You're going to be hitting your head against the wall because you were finally going to do that. You're going to beat up somebody. That's the Fonz. Okay? A equals B, B equals C, A equals C. Fonz was pissed off that he wasn't getting up a girl's shirt. Based on that, there is no way the Fonz was getting laid. Absolutely, positively, no way that he was getting laid if he got pissed off that he couldn't get up a girl's shirt. Seriously? Not to mention, how old was he? I think he was in his 20s on the show. I mean, he was 27 in real life, but I think he was 21 or 22, his character. He can't get up a 16-year-old girl's shirt? Isn't that statutory rape anyway? But I'm not even going there, okay? Yes, the Fonz could hit the side of a wall, and he could make lights turn on and off, and pinball machines do funny things, and turn on the jukebox. Yes, he can. But what he couldn't do is he couldn't get laid. Every time he snapped his fingers and 15 girls ran to him, yay, he'd kiss them. And hey, I'm not judging. I want to be clear about that. If that was made him happy, that makes me happy because it's not for us to say what any different people should be doing. But don't sit here and make a generation of kids that turn into teenagers, turn into adults, think that you were this stallion that got laid all the time. He probably was a virgin his whole life. The only one that had sex on that show was Richie after he married Lori Beth. I don't think anybody had sex on that show. I mean, Potsy didn't even have a date, for God's sake, except for the time Joni was interested in him. You know, remember the Dren episode, of course. If you're a Happy Days fan, you remember that. So the bottom line is this. At the end of the day, everything you and I believed is all fake. Fonzie never got laid. A guy who is upset because he doesn't get up some girl's shirt is not a guy that gets laid. Plain and simple. So Fonzie, you were the man. I watched you for, 10 years, 11 years? I watched you in your 30s dating high school girls. I never said a word because I loved the show. But when I found out that you were not getting laid, a part of me died. I will never be the same again. That being said, remember, folks, at the end of the day, as SwamiLee says, Fonzie never got laid. Thank you for tuning in. Like this video if you like it. Tell me why you didn't like this video if you didn't like it. And stay tuned as SwamiLee says a heck of a lot more moving forward. So thank you again for tuning in to SwamiLee Says. And you have yourselves a great, great day. Nerd.